Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Johnny Cleveland podcast. We are part of the Fanatical Elves Network, Fans First Sports Network as well. It is a Tuesday night, late evening, September 30th, catching the tail end, well, the middle of the Reds. Cincinnati Reds are battling the LA Dodgers. And boy, everybody out there in Los Angeles, Dodger baseball fans. It's a unique place. Celebrities. Anyway, the Reds are down 5-0. Close game, but they're down 5-0. So if you're a Reds fan and you like Cincinnati, and I know I have some colleagues that I work with that are big Reds fans, they are a little bummed out right now, but I'm sure they'll maybe they got to come back in them. So our team, the Cleveland Guardians, go Tribe, go Indians, lost earlier today 2-1 to the Detroit Tigers in the first game of the wild card series. The Guardians went down 1-0. They came back, tied it 1-1, and it was in the late innings. I believe the eighth inning, they made another mistake, another critical error that then allowed them to score an additional run. Went up 2-1. The Guards had an opportunity in the ninth inning. Jose led off the inning with a ball that was hit into the infield. Guy couldn't handle it very well. Tried to throw it over to the first baseman who couldn't handle the ball overthrown there. Jose made it all the way to third base on a triple or error and whatnot. So no outs, ninth inning. Jose's on third. You would think 9 times out of 10 that Cleveland could get that run across, but they didn't. They struck out and had a few other mistakes. There was a running mistake by Jose too. The ball was the second batter hit it, and he got caught between third and home. So that was really a bummer there. The next guy comes up and hits a pop up, and the game's over. Indians or Guards lose 2-1, and tough times. We got to give props to what Cleveland has done. What they did over the last 2 months was phenomenal, considering that on July 8th, they were 42 wins and 48 losses and 15 and a half games back of the Detroit Tigers. To be able to capture them and take the division is phenomenal. Now, that winning the division allowed Cleveland to have these 3 home games in the wild card, which you would think would be the advantage to the home team. But it doesn't seem that way right now. They've lost their momentum a little bit. They got to get it back. They got a game tomorrow. The next 2 games are scheduled at 1 o'clock. I know some people out there. I know it's a tough sell, especially if you work, to be down there at the stadium at Progressive Field. I don't think that he even had a sellout today. I think there were only 26,000 fans, which good crowd, but it's the playoffs, so a little disappointing. But nonetheless, Cleveland's got an opportunity. But folks, this could be the last game for the Guards. It's a win or go home. The players on Cleveland's team, they've had their back against the wall all season. They were, like I said, 15 games back late mid-July. So anything can happen. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Game is at 1 o'clock down at Progressive Field. If you're in the Cleveland area or even here in the Columbus area, if you want to make your way up to Cleveland, have fun with that. I hope that the Tribe, the Guards, come on, win the game. And we have another game on Thursday. We'll find out, won't we? So that's been the good news, the last couple of weeks with Cleveland sports teams. The other team that we were all talking, well, not, we'll get to the Browns here, but the Cavs, they had their media day, and many of the players were, dressed up in their gear, interviewed with the local media. Lorenzo Ball is one of the new players that is with the Cavs. He most recently, I think, was with the Chicago Bulls. Interestingly, he said something weird about how he didn't realize that Cleveland had water like a lake. I'm like, how dumb are you? Just unreal. I mean, honestly, I think he was telling the truth. He didn't know. And I just can't comprehend how silly that is. You're a professional athlete and that you don't know certain things geographically. Um, I guess I'm not stunned, but do your homework. What were you doing when you were in school? Um, so we'll see. Hey, Diet Coke. It's the drink of champions here. No, we're not sponsored by Diet Coke. I wish I were. Wish we were here at the Fanatical Elves. We do are sponsored by Hemisphere Coffee Roasters. They shake the hand of the farmer. Go check out our link on our X page and tell them that Lou sent you. No, I'm not Lou. That's referencing Lou Marconi, who shared that the other day. So go buy some great coffee. They're up there in Mechanicsburg, Ohio, just to the north, I think west of town here in Columbus. Been out to their facility. They just do some great stuff, great product. We've been buying their coffee for years. I won't drink anything else in the mornings. Um, so thank you to Hemisphere Coffee Roasters. Hey, let's pause for a quick commercial break before we dive into more talk about the beloved Cleveland Browns. We'll be right back. And we are back here on a late Tuesday evening, September 30th. Tomorrow, folks, is October 1st. We've made it to fall. Not really here in Ohio, where it's going to be here in the Columbus area. It's going to be close to, well, it's dropping down to like 80 tomorrow. But then by the weekend, it's going to be up to 90 again. I'm like I said, many of you know I lived in Kansas for 26 years, and it seems every day like Ohio is becoming more like Kansas. The weather, the atmosphere, everything is kind of shifting now. Unusual, to say the least. More unusual is I read a report that there are suggestions that by the first part of November, that the forecast looks like it could be super cold. So we'll see what happens. Right now, we're dealing with 90-degree weather. We'll see what happens in 30 days and if we're dealing with snow. But the long range forecasts, we're looking for some more seasonal weather. Right now, it's unseasonably warm. And it looks like it's going to stay that way. I shouldn't complain, but that's what I do best. So, com- talking about complaining, we have our Cleveland Brownies, our beloved Brownies. Sounds like Kevin Stefanski yesterday did not commit to starting Joe Flacco in their game that they play against the Minnesota Vikings Sunday morning from London. It'll be here live Eastern 9:30 in the morning, 8:30 Central. So catch that. I think it's going to be on the NFL Network locally here in Cleveland. I think it'll be on WEWS Channel 5. And he's Stefanski basically didn't commit. So today, of course, people in the Cleveland media started to, oh, I've heard from inside sources that they're planning on starting Dylan Gabriel. Probably they are, but it's just funny how it's kind of coming out now. The Browns are flying to London tomorrow, Wednesday, and so I imagine that they'll probably make that announcement once they're in air or they're in the over the ocean, and we'll have more to talk about. Obviously, as we get closer to the game on Sunday, if it is indeed Dylan Gabriel starting, he'll be our rookie that we drafted, and he looked pretty good in preseason. We've talked endlessly about what we've seen from Joe Flacco the last 4 weeks as he's been the starter for the Browns. He's definitely aged. He's not your 2023 superstar, rock star Joe Flacco mania, but we're here. We're 1 win, 3 losses for the Brownies. And, it could be worse. We got a win last week against the Green Bay Packers that was not expected. And we were, relatively speaking, in both the Ratbirds game a couple weeks ago and the Lions game this past week. If it weren't for some just drop passes. Jerry Judy dropping passes, Harold Fannin dropping a pass, and then that unexcusable run back by the on the punt on the kick that was returned by the Lions that took the lead from 20 to 10 to up to 27 to 10 really put um, the nail in the coffin there and solidified another loss for the Brownies and a win for the Lions. And we'll see what happens. People are talking about Minnesota having Carson Wentz starting this game, and the Browns have had some success against Carson Wentz in previous games when Carson has played for like the Philadelphia Eagles. But time will tell. There's going to be a lot of discussion going into this game again about Dylan Gabriel. We'll have more time to talk about that. I'm looking forward to seeing what the kid can do. I think he will function quicker. I think he will get the ball out better than Joe Flacco. I think he can run the ball, obviously, 1,000 times better. So look for that. And then we have Shedeur Sanders, who will he become the backup if they go to Dylan Gabriel and not have Joe Flacco be the backup? Now, there are idiots out there in La La Land and on ESPN like Rex Ryan, who's a complete buffoon, who decided for some reason, and ESPN is just morons for letting this crap be discussed on a Monday conversation after the Browns lose, and Shedeur Sanders is the not even dressed quarterback. He's the third string quarterback. Somehow Rex Ryan decided, hey, let's go ahead and bash Shedeur Sanders and talk about his work ethic or whatnot. He has no clue what the hell he's talking about. I know some people are talking, well, Rex Ryan must know somebody on the inside of the Cleveland organization. Okay, if he does, who cares? We haven't heard a lick of bad stuff about Shedeur Sanders from anybody else in the local media or outside of this until Rex Ryan decided to open his damn mouth. Just stop listening to ESPN. Stop listening to people like Rex Ryan because guess what? Rex Ryan worked for ESPN. If he was a good coach, he'd be back on the sideline coaching. But he's working for ESPN. Sure, he might be making some good money, but use your time more wisely and don't listen to some moron like that. I feel bad. I don't feel bad for, well, put it this way. Shedeur, you haven't heard anything from Shedeur since those comments were made by Rex Ryan. So Shadeur's doing his thing. He's got his head down. He's working, and we'll see what happens. Um, it's just unfortunate that people just are trying to do some of these things to get clicks and to get notoriety when they just need to just stop talking. And somebody like Rex Ryan, who's been in the league for a long time as a coach, he did not, his success is his success, but I don't consider him to have anything that he's talking about. I don't give. I mean, how he described Shedeur and putting him down was just deplorable. It was just idiotic. So I'll stop there, but we'll see what happens. So we got Dylan Gabriel probably going to get the start. The issue, and I talked to Lou about this the other day on Stirring the Pot, and we've talked about it on the post game. I've talked to other colleagues here on the Fanatical Elves Network with this offense, which has just been stuck in the mud. Now we're changing quarterback, which is important if we're going to have any chance of getting out of that sticky situation, the mud. The Browns are averaging 14 points this season. The only team that's worse than them are the Tennessee Titans, who are averaging 12.8 points a game. The Browns have not been able to get over the 20-point mark since last season. And I know it's a different team last year, but they haven't scored over, 20 points this season. And they have any kind of success and regular success, you got to at least score 20 points. The best teams in the league right now, and going back to last year, I looked at the data. You can look at it too. The winning teams like the Philadelphia Eagles, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Baltimore Ratbirds, they're averaging over 30 points a game. 32 points, 33 points. They're averaging that, and we're down here at 14 points a game. It is pathetic, and it has to change. Now, this is where we get into this whole conversation about Coach Stefanski, because some of you are you loathe the coach, you want him removed right away. Others of you are defending him, and you will continue to defend him and say that it's not on him. It's not on him that the Browns lost this game against the Detroit Lions this last week. Somehow it's not on him. Who are we? It's the people talk about this all the time, the blame game. Okay. Here's my take on it has been, and it has evolved, but if Kevin Stefanski, who's in year 6, in not year 1, not year 2, but year 6, it is on him. And if this team isn't winning, he has to go. Some of you will say, well, we need to keep him because we want to be more like Pittsburgh, because Pittsburgh knows how to have a balanced season, and they always have 500 seasons, but they haven't won a damn thing in decades either. Yeah, they might be 500. Go talk to Pittsburgh fans and see what they think about it. They're not happy about being 500 all the time. Yeah, Tomlinson's been there for a long, long time. So Stefanski's got to do some stuff. He's got to stop. He's got to win, and he's not. And so you want to defend him, that's fine. I'm not gonna. I don't want to get rid of him right away, but he's had more opportunities than not. And a lot of you will, those of you again who are defending him, will talk about, well, there's been injuries, or the offensive line, or he doesn't have a quarterback, or blah 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 blah. He's had tons of opportunities over the last 6 seasons. He has got to do better as a coach. I did hear some other people talking about this on a different podcast, and I tend to agree with the one podcaster's opinion that in a game like what they were playing against Detroit the other day, when you're in that game, kind of similar to the game when we lost to the Baltimore Ratbirds, the idea that we're in that game and then we get kind of blown out toward the end. I know it's a whole bunch of things that are happening, but it does come down to coaches, all the coaches, and Stefanski, and how they are interacting, how that is as a group. And there are failures throughout this team, amongst the players and amongst the coaches. And that, the buck stops here. It stops with Stefanski. And if we want to throw in the GM, Andrew Berry, if this team continues to lose, and they're going to continue to lose, they may get a win here and there. Lou said the other day on our show, you look at the schedule, he thought that you could, the Browns could win 11 of those final 13 games. Okay, they could. I don't think they're going to do that. Most Browns fans probably don't, at this point, don't think they're going to do that. We'll see. I like a lot of things that Stefanski brings to the table as far as being the coach. I think there are some things to say about his being stable, not being emotional roller coaster all the time. He's steady Eddie, but it's getting tiring. And if this team is not going to win, then he has to go. Andrew Berry might as well go too. We'll see what happens, but not feeling real good about it at this point in time. We'll see what happens when they go over to London. They're going to play them, like I said, the Minnesota Vikings, and they're playing a team that they can beat. The Steelers did get by the Vikings. Not It was pretty close though, 24-21. We'll see. They got to come back. The Browns do after they play the Vikings and play the Steelers then in Pittsburgh. Good luck with that, right? Then they play the Dolphins, who did finally get a win the other night. So we'll take it a game at a time. Right now, I hope that the team and the Browns are focused on winning that game on Sunday morning. They have nothing to lose and everything to gain. There will be a neutral stadium of fans, NFL fans, some of them cheering for the Browns, some of them cheering for the Vikings. And it should be a lot of fun. It's always, an international flavor to it. Will, hopefully be good. Hopefully you've got plans maybe that morning to do something different, maybe unique. We were talking about what we're going to do here. Maybe we'll have a big outdoor, we got some grills. We can make some breakfast and do sort of a brunch uh, tailgating here before the game starts. So we'll hopefully you guys plan something as well. Let's see. I've got somebody in the chat here. Jeffrey, what do you say here? Jeffrey, thanks for watching. I think it's going to get he. I think it's time to get rid of Kevin and Andrew. Yep, the only one I'm keeping is Jim Schwartz because he has the defense humming. I agree with that, Jeffrey. I don't know if you know if they part ways eventually with Kevin and Andrew. We'll see what happens. Usually, when they make wholesale changes, everybody goes. I like Jim Schwartz. I have for a while. He also said he's excited about Dylan Gabriel, what he can do this week. I am too. I think I've been a Shador fan since the before the draft. I like Shador Sanders. I think Shador Sanders has a lot still to learn, but I think he's got the talent and the upside. I believe a little bit more so than Dylan Gabriel. But Dylan Gabriel has done some good things that we saw during the preseason, and when he went in late in that Baltimore Ratbirds game, he did some good things as well there. So yeah, I'm excited about it. I mean, the kid's played in college for like a decade, right? I remember watching him play when I was what he was at Central Florida, he was at Oklahoma, he's been pretty much everywhere. He was Oregon. He doesn't strike fear in me as a if I was an opponent of his. I don't know if I'd be afraid of him, but maybe he has a lot to prove. He seems like he's studied the game well, and I think that he'll be prepared. And I'll be anxious to see if this offense can get a boost from Dylan Gabriel starting. For God's sakes, we got to get some sort of boost, right? What do we got to do? Um, I have a picture over here of my favorite Nick Chubb. Miss Nick Chubb all the time, but I will give a shout out here. I wrote about it briefly on Northeast Ohio Sports Insiders and also Fans First Sports about Quinshon Junkins. Quinshon Junkins has come in and done some really good things so far. He's got 237 rushing yards on like 49 attempts, like a 4-yard average. He missed game one, and but since then he's really been working hard. I felt like in that game, and I was telling Lou the other night on our show that Quinshon's they at that 9 or 10 minute mark of the game when the Browns kind of gave up that punt return, they were down 27-10. They weren't the offense went out there very lethargically. They weren't motivated. They weren't running around. They weren't communicating. But Quinshon Junkins was in there, and there was a one or two plays where he jumped up and like he was yelling. I don't know if he was pissed off with himself or yelling at some of the offensive linemen, but I like that fire. We need more players like that, and this season is not going to turn out the way it's not. We're not going to a Super Bowl, but it's good to see some of these younger players, and maybe that's what we need to do. I was looking at a player like David Njoku. David Njoku is in year number 9. I think it was year number 9 now for the Brownies. He started here in 2017, and his career in Cleveland, he kind of rose, got better, but the last couple seasons again they've been just tailing off. He has 100 and some receiving yards so far through 4 games, but I think last year he had over 500 yards. But here's a player that some of us want to see more of. But when you look at a player's career, and in this case David Njoku's, you see a player who kind of has already had his peak, and now he's on his decline, and that's kind of what you're seeing with some of our other players. Nick Chubb behind me, Nick Chubb's not with us anymore, though we love him and think he's what a true Cleveland Brown player should have been. He's gone, and he's lost a step. We saw that. We talked about it last year. But then you see somebody like Miles Garrett. Now Miles Garrett is unique. Like he seems like he's on another level right now. He's playing out of his mind, and so we'll see. Oh, we got a couple more comments here. Let me see what else we got from Jeff. Is this you again? Yeah. Also, where has been the last first week? We haven't used him at all. I agree. What the hell, right? I don't know where Dylan Sampson has gone. I that first game he was everywhere. Second game a little bit, and the last two games, I think they're giving more touches to Quinshon Junkins. He had the 22 or 21 carries, rushing, and I think he caught three passes, and so maybe I think he's taking up more of that time from Dylan Sampson. But it is a little bit of a surprise, and I hope the coaching staff makes a concerted effort to get Dylan Sampson back in more of these games. Let's see here. We also got he also make a comment about Isaiah Bond. I agree there too. Isaiah Bond has caught or he was at least targeted 6 times last game, and that's steadily increased every game that he's played since the start of the season. Here's a guy that we just picked up off the street, right? So, um, and final thought here. I see what you're talking about in the joke. And David also, it was doing stick routes and blocking a lot, so I don't blame him at all. I think it's a system as well. I agree too. Yeah, I mean, and that's where you come back and we talk about Stefanski and the system and blah blah blah. Um, the Browns just need to figure out a system where they're going to score points, right? So when other teams are scoring 25 to 35 points and we're stuck in the mud scoring 10 to 15 points, there is a problem. Houston, we have a problem. Cleveland, we have a problem. And this is a major problem and it's not being fixed. So if Stefanski can't get it fixed, then goodbye, sayonara. Um, don't let the door hit you on your way out. I mean, that's basically what we're going to get to, and fans are going to continue to get more and more opinionated about what we're talking about. So, um, well, folks, I think that we're going to wrap it up right now. Jeffrey, hey, thanks for watching us. I appreciate that. Make sure you tune back in, listen to our shows, download our shows, follow us on Spotify, follow us on Apple, follow us anywhere you listen to your podcast. You can listen to us, and then when you download us or you follow us, anytime there's a new show, it pops up on your phone or your electronic device, and you can listen to the next show. We really appreciate that. We're going into this is our third season right now with the Fans First Sports Network. We really appreciate all of their support and contributions to our network, and look forward to having many more great shows. We got a lot more great programming coming up this week. What the Elf was that is coming up tomorrow with Joel Cade. We've got our Fanatical Elves show coming up on Thursday night, along with, believe, Rod Bloom has his Browns Blitz just around the corner. Sam the Man is doing his Browns breakdowns as well. Earlier in the week, we had Stirring the Pot with myself and Lou, and Steve Gill had his Dog Pound South podcast. So lots of things coming up. I think Lou's got a show coming up, the Bernie River Browns Talk, as well on Friday. Got one more comment here. Again, thank you, Jeffrey. We're running the same exact offense that Chip Kelly ran in Philly, and on 12 personnel run the ball. Exactly. Um, we'll continue this discussion for another time, but I think it's definitely we are running something that's similar from other teams, like you mentioned, and we're just not getting the production that we need, and we got to figure out some more ways quickly if we want to win some more games this season here in Cleveland. Everybody, I hope you all have a very good rest of your late evening. Again, it's 10:35, 10:36 here Eastern, and we'll catch up with you again very soon. Tomorrow again, we've got Joel Cade with his What the Elf Was That. So tune back into the X page, our Facebook page. We're also on TikTok. Follow us on TikTok. We've been growing our brand there on TikTok, and we really appreciate you watching that content as well. Until next time, everybody, remember to, that's right, keep smiling. Take care.